all admire her bravery, her courage, and her wonderful positive spirit. I could continue to talk to you about her experience, but I'd love to have her tell you her own story. I'm very pleased today to welcome a very special woman, Lane Baker.
I don't do this for a living, so I have some notes. I have to tell you, it's an honor to be here and speaking for a group of people that apparently share the same goal I do. Let's find a cure for cancer, and in the interim, let's take care of the patients that are going through such a horrible disease. I work in Washington, D.C. I'm the Chief of Law Enforcement, Security, and Emergency Services for the National Park Service. You may or may not have known we have all that. But to get here today, I actually flew from Arizona, where I'm working temporarily in a place called Oregon Pipe Cactus National Monument, which is right on the border, Mexican border, and the closest town is a place called Y. And my sister says, and why would you go here? So my apologies if any of you are from Y, Arizona, but I doubt it. But that's one of the fun things about working for the National Park Service, where all over the United States, it's a great organization to work for, and for the most, I've been working for them for almost 25 years in a variety of jobs. Places like Yosemite, where I was for 13 years. I started that when I was in college and continued on after college. Everglades National Park, and most recently Yellowstone National Park. And then I left Yellowstone to go to Washington, so you might wonder if I already had some mental disease in my role. But my role has always been to help our parks, protect our parks, and protect the people that come to visit those parks. Sometimes as a federal law enforcement officer, sometimes as a medic, sometimes as a search and rescue person, or sometimes just simply managing the wildlife that seem to get in the way of all the motorhomes that come into our parks. But prior to my Park Service career, I taught high school science, and I've done a lot of exciting things, I have to say, as a National Park Service person that ranged from teaching America's youth to flying in helicopters and trapping bears and trapping alligators, although not in the same park. And responding with lights and sirens to emergencies, riding horses, things people do often to go on their own vacations. But sometimes things happen that they didn't plan for in their vacation, and I ended up having to help them out, me and my fellow park rangers. So based on that brief description, you might recognize that fitness has been always a part of my life. And I'm required to pass a physical every year, a medical test every year. And when I realized that the abdominal discomfort that I was feeling wasn't cyclic, and it didn't get better when I exercised more, and when I started eating less, I decided to go see my physician. And I fully expected to hear from my physician that I was getting older, I was probably entering menopause, you're just getting age, those bellies come up on us when we turn 50 years old. I never expected to get the diagnosis of stage 3 ovarian cancer. When I was diagnosed with cancer, I needed support. I wasn't the rescuer, I needed to be rescued. And I got that in great abundance from my parents, my aunts and uncles, my cousins, my friends, and especially my sister, who's here with me today. And she opened up her home to me and all my friends that traipsed in to help me get through chemo and get over the surgery. And I also received a lot of prayer and faith from my friends and my own faith. But I also have to acknowledge today that I received a lot of support from Stanford. The time I was diagnosed on June 28, 2010, I was living in Northern Virginia. I still live there technically. And I was referred to Stanford and Dr. Barrett by a friend of my sister's who happens to work here at Stanford. And once we met Dr. Barrett and the team he put together for my treatment, I knew I would find the support and treatment that I needed to beat cancer. seemed like every Stanford employee I met, whether they were the people that started my IVs, drew my blood, greeted me on check-in, brought me warm blankets, all the way down to the docents who came around with graham crackers and saltines and ginger ale and all those things that you needed. They gave us hope that I was going to get through this. And I'm sure that this kind of care will only increase in the Women's Cancer Center. When I was here, it was only the Cancer Center, so it was not the unique place that it is now. And I'm excited about that Cancer Center. I had an opportunity to tour that. So today I'm honored and blessed to be here. Last week, I walked 60 miles in 3 days to raise awareness for detection, early detection, and to raise money for research and treatment. This week I celebrated my 52nd birthday, and I get to speak up to all of you. And next week, I'll get to celebrate the 1-year anniversary of the end of chemo. But most importantly, today, I stand before you as a cancer survivor.